Good morning, or good afternoon. Welcome to the December 11th meeting of the Environmental Resource Committee. We'll start out by Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item of business is the approval of the draft agenda. Are there any proposed amendments to the agenda? I have one amendment that we need to make. Item E under business is the election of our chair and vice chairs for 2025. I would like to propose that we postpone that until January, until we have all of our members present. We have enough people here today for a quorum, but we're missing 2 people. So do I have a motion to make that change?
I'll move that we amend the agenda to postpone the elections to January.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Are there any other changes anyone feels should be made? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item are the minutes of the November 20th meeting. Are there any changes that anyone feels need to be made there? If not, I need a motion to approve that.
So
Okay.
moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, public comments to agenda items. We have public today. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
No comments. Okay, we'll move into our business subcommittee discussions. Alan, can I have that slideshow? Thought I'd start out the meeting with a picture of our beautiful beach in the summertime. It's a nasty day outside with the rain and the cold, so here we have somebody surfing early in the morning. We'll start out, I wanted to update everyone on the inlet study we've been doing, creek and inlet study, and remind us that August, September, October, November were impactful months on Tubbs Inlet because of the king tides that occurred there and the tropical weather that we had. In December, beginning tomorrow, we're in for a period of higher than normal tides because of the full moon next week. So we're going to get some more impacts on the inlet over the next week. And I've asked Mickey Cochran to get some pictures for us either on sometime over the weekend. So we'll have some updated pictures for January. Looking back on 2024, we've seen in Jinks Creek how the channel has migrated eastward beyond Palm Cove into the Spit. Flood tide delta, the large area of sand behind Sunset Beach has grown in area, it's grown in elevation, and the weed cover on the delta has grown quite a bit. Jinks Creek is very shallow at low tide. People can walk across it, and that's because it's filling up with sand as the high tides wash over the Spit. Tubbs Inlet itself, the inlet channel is moving westward toward Sunset Beach. It's moving, um, I think it's pretty much stabilized in the last couple months, but it's moved quite a bit this year. And well, we're keeping an eye on it. The creeks coming out of Jinks Creek, out of Tubbs Inlet, Jinks Creek, Still Creek, and Souls Creek, all show signs of filling up with sand. They're very heavily shoaled at low tides. The tidal prism, which is the volume of water going through the inlet, we believe is diminishing as the inlet fills up and the creeks fill up with sand. The ebb tide delta has grown in area and elevation. The ebb tide delta is the delta at the mouth of the inlet in the ocean. And you'll see people out, way out from shore, standing in shallow water or on sandy areas, fishing from the sand that's accumulated out there at the mouth of the inlet. So that's what we've seen occurring this year, and we'll keep following it next year and see where it goes. Next thing I want to talk about is Tubbs Inlet as an inlet hazard area. This is educational for the committee and for the public. This is an area that's being very heavily studied by the science panel for the Coastal Resource Commission. And in April, they'll be making recommendations to the Coastal Resource Commission on changes to the boundaries of the inlet hazard areas. Going back in history, in 1972, the federal government passed the Coastal Zone Management Act, also known as CZMA, for the protection, preservation, and development of the nation's coastal zones. Shortly thereafter, in 1974, North Carolina enacted the Coastal Management Act, Coastal Area Management Act, also known as CAMA, that provides for the structure for North Carolina to manage and protect the coastal resources that we have. The key features of CAMA, the major feature is the areas of environmental concern. CAMA also provides for the formation and functioning of the Coastal Resource Commission. It establishes permitting processes for development in the coastal zones. It requires coastal communities to have land use plans, and it requires public participation in everything that's done. Areas of environmental concern are regions that are critical for the protection of resources and the public interest. It includes environmentally sensitive, hazardous areas and areas that are significant for public use. One of these areas of environmental concern are ocean hazard areas, and within ocean hazard areas are the inlet hazard areas. Tubbs Inlet is within an inlet hazard area, and it's an area that's particularly vulnerable to erosion, to flooding, to changes in the shoreline and other dynamic coastal processes, and we've seen it all. Tubbs Inlet is a very dynamic inlet, and it has a long history of very, very dynamic changes that have taken place. Inlet hazard areas are risky for development, as the people at Palm Cove have experienced. And not just Palm Cove, but anywhere close to the inlet has been has felt the impacts from the inlet with flooding and erosion of the shorelines. Inlet hazard areas are periodically updated, and that's a process that's going on right now. As I said, there is an inlet hazard area around Tubbs Inlet. This map shows the inlet hazard areas around Sunset Beach all the way over to Ocean Isle Beach with Tubbs Inlet in the middle. Sunset Beach in purple, this was the inlet hazard area boundary established in 2010. Basically, it's the east end of the island that was created after the inlet was moved back in 1969 by the Gores. It was felt that it was vulnerable to change, and they didn't know how to deal with it except to look at it all as being an area subject to change. But this is an area now that's shown great stability, and in this map you'll see in the yellow where in 2019 the science panel had recommended that the yellow area be established as the inlet hazard area for Sunset Beach. But that was never adopted by the Coastal Resource Commission. Tubbs Inlet is one of 20 inlets in North Carolina. And when they changed the boundaries, they changed the boundaries on all 20 inlets. And there weren't any objections to the change in Sunset Beach, but there were quite a few objections to changes in other inlets. So the science panel was asked to take another look at it. And they've spent a lot of time on that this year. And next April, they'll make a presentation to the commission and show what their new recommendations are. The red line on this map shows where the boundary of the inlet will be recommended to be. Basically, the boundary comes up from the ocean, goes along the row of houses at the east end on the ocean side of the street. It goes up to the point where the sandbags meet the bulkhead at Palm Cove and the island. And then it'll go up and it'll include the spit. And that's what's going to be proposed to the commission in April, as far as I know so far. When you look at what it'll look like from Sunset Beach to Ocean Isle Beach, it's going to incorporate the whole of the spit, and it's going to enlarge the area up to the end of the spit, but pretty much follow the orange lines with a little bit of expansion from what we had in 2019. This is not a big change for Sunset Beach. Some of the other beaches are having bigger changes. There'll be a lot of discussion about that. But I wanted people to be aware of this. When this is adopted, the purple area goes away, and anyone that lives in that purple area, they're no longer considered to be part of the inlet hazard area, and any regulations that were unique to the inlet hazard area no longer apply to that area. So it's could provide some regulatory relief to the people in the purple area. This is another thing that I found out in my study that I thought was kind of interesting, and that is that Tubbs Inlet is basically on property that's belongs to Brunswick County. It's not part of the boundaries of Sunset Beach, and it's not part of the boundaries of Ocean Isle Beach. So anything that's ever going to be done in Tubbs Inlet, if there were any dredging that would have to go from Sunset Beach into Tubbs Inlet, it would have to involve Brunswick County in some manner, which complicates things. But, I thought this was interesting. The next thing, last month I gave everybody a chart showing what the rainfall had been over the past umpty-ump years. And I was excited because for the rainfall year of 2024 ending in September, the rainfall had exceeded the average over the past 30 years, whereas in the prior 2 years, it had been substantially below the average. And we looked at the below average rainfall as being a contributing factor to the algae and weed growth problems that we've had at Twin Lakes and other ponds in the town. And then I started looking at it a little bit deeper, and I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but going back to 2021, you'll see that there's quite a bit of variation from month to month between rainfall that exceeds or falls below the average. 2022, it's the same thing. 2023, all of these years have many months of below average rainfall and a couple of months of high rainfall. In 2024, that's what we had again. We had a high month in December of 2023, and we had very high months in July and August of 2024. What concerns me is that since September, we've basically gone back into a drought mode. We had a very high excess of rain in July and August, but for December, October, November, and December, we're about 11 inches below average. So the 2024 rainfall average was caused by 3 months of high rainfall and 9 months of below average rainfall. And we're starting out the 2025 rainfall year almost 10 inches below average. Our problem has not gone away. We had a brief respite of dryness, and we probably experienced a good flushing of the Twin Lakes with all of that rainfall. But now we're back into a dry mode, and we need to consider enhancements to the 2025 treatment programs, I believe, to recognize that this is happening. And not only is it what we've experienced in the fourth quarter of this year, but when you look at the winter forecast that NOAA has for rainfall, we're in an area where the winter is expected to be very dry. So this is going to go on this is forecast to go on through the winter.
It'd be interesting to see how that ties back to water consumption in the county. Because, I don't know. I guess we don't have a water shortage problem, but it doesn't rain a lot. People are using a lot more water.
Watering.
County gets a lot of their water out of the Cape Fear River.
Yeah.
It's
Which,
doesn't come from wells.
That's good. It's a good thing. I'm just saying, water consumption would probably be higher.
Yeah.
If you live in an area where you have a hard time getting water, which some areas it'd be a challenge because we have all the growth plus lack of rain.
Alan, I'm done. there any questions about any of this? Next item is the Palm Cove. This would help if I put this on. Next item is update on the Palm Cove Jenks Creek dredging project. As we talked about last month, the project has been notified by the DWR that they qualify for the shallow draft dredging fund. And now the negotiations are in process on agreements to move forward on that. And that they're still going on. I covered the rainfall update. Next item are Twin Lakes. Should we change the name of the Twin Lakes subcommittee to Lakes and Ponds?
I think it would be good since we're trying to include the entire town, and Dustin was nice enough to take me around and show me where we have other bodies of water.
Yeah.
Consider. So you should have gotten nicely from Amy, because I got them to her kind of late because some holiday stuff. But anyway, I just picked 3 pictures that were examples of where Dustin and I rode out last week to find some of these, because I was trying to imagine where we have 8 or 9, and we actually have 10, counting East and West Lake, I think. The only one we didn't go by was the pond I was telling John behind fire station number 2. But these are, if you turned on Shoreline Drive east and went down, actually the second picture is the thin little kind of creek and pond that's behind the community center, goes over towards the community center for Sunset Beach and the town community center. The next 2 are just as you go down Shoreline. There's a large one you can see is the front picture, and there are houses. One of the things I want to see is, are there residences around all these besides just the East and West Lake? We have a lot of residents around these ponds, a lot. I don't know about the fire station one, but every other one does have houses around it. So if we're talking about doing something for the town, we need to consider there are residents around all of them. And then the final picture, you can see the house sort of to the left, and not the one to the back, but they come all the way around to the side of that pond. And 2 of these actually, there's piping under the street, and it goes to both sides of the road. They're large enough to go to both sides of the road. Now, the other side's not as large as this picture, but almost as large. So they're fairly decent sized ponds, except for 2 of them that are more of a trickle, like your first picture, or your second picture, sorry.
So counting the Twin Lakes, how many ponds, lakes in total?
10 is what he's
10?
telling me. 10. And we saw 9.
10 with the Twin Lakes.
And I'll share those. I took pictures of 6 of them, and I just took the best 3 that we could get on that day. But I went back around.
Can we take a like an aerial map and identify their locations?
Yeah, I think Dustin probably has that. I just couldn't find 2 of them because I was looking in their houses, and there's 2 of them are pretty difficult to find if you don't know. One's on Mill Slough Road, and then the other road, I'm not sure the name, I think Azalea, but anyway. I had ridden around, couldn't find him, so Dustin was nice enough. I asked him if he would take me around. So he did to all but 1 or 2. So, yep, and he does have a map. I don't know if it's a satellite one, John, but he does have a map. And then rest, I guess I could say, for grants and things like that. I will say this. Let me say this about that. I visited the Extension Service and Amy Mead, and they have a new person, Matt Colligan, and then visited Brunswick County Storm and Water. And both of those instances decided that they knew a little bit about, I guess, our lakes. They decided last week to come and take a look at the lakes. So when we get down here, further down, I'll tell you about that, because I was asking about funding and things like that nature. But they've seen our lakes. They came to see them last week.
They've seen which lake?
They saw Twin Lakes, east
Twin
and
Lakes.
west. That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was Elliott Swain.
Elliott Swain and Matt Colligan both came over. I'd visited them and they said, well, we had free time and we just kind of want to put an eyeball on these lakes. And so they came over to view them, and I found that out this morning. So, but I can tell you about that.
Okay,
the
tell
grant
us
thing.
about that.
You want to tell about that? Okay, now. All right. I started with Elliot because I've been doing some research on the grants for the lakes, and there was a local grant. John had let me know about a stipend, a graduate stipend, and we couldn't get that done in time through North Carolina State University for a graduate student by December the 10th. They just couldn't get a plan written up and get a faculty advisor to do that. So I started looking at other areas, and that's when I went to go meet with Elliot, because I found one with Soil and Water for Brunswick County, and it's a local area grant that is a match grant. Most of the match is 75%, and the town would be responsible for 25%. And there's some things we could do, and one of the things that we talked about was getting some data collected on a regular basis so we know what's having an effect, what might be causing some of the things. And so as part of that, I told him what we'd like to look at is some kind of plan, a framework plan, after looking at the Lake Smart program that Steve sent out and Mila, that of course in New Hampshire and Maine, they have regulations, state regulations. We don't have those regulations in North Carolina. So I was asking some things that we could cooperate on to put together a framework, a plan for all the ponds and lakes. So as part of that, he let me know that there is a grant that closes in December, actually the 25th, don't quote me anyway, the end of December, one cycle, and the second cycle closes in June. So I said I'd like information on that. So that's what he's getting me. And he is contacting for us the representative who's in charge of that. His name is Amin Davis, who I actually called, and then he's sending an email to get more information on that grant for us, the town. And then I'll get it to Lisa and let her look over it, see where we go.
Good.
Okay. So that's kind of where we are for a long-term framework for a plan. And because the Lake Smart, I think, was a little bit industrious from where we are.
Well, and North Carolina doesn't have the regulatory structure that the other states have.
Exactly. And as part of that, North Carolina State University talked with them. They've hired a new, she's called the engagement director, Miss Taylor. And the faculty member that I was working with about the graduate program put me in touch with her. They've agreed to come if we want them to come to Earth Day and do a piece on the benefits of shoreline planning and mowing and fertilizing and all the things that we might want to educate, do an educational piece that day. And then Amy worked on with Public Works, getting them to dig the holes, and then our local extension service said they will come and actually demonstrate the planting and tell people how to maintain it and look at ones that won't block our view. That's my other concern, was if we recommend these plants, that I got a list of nurseries a mile long that I've called and found out the ones that do local plants that would survive, number one, and two, not block people's view on the lakes. So that's our concern. So we would let them handle that and do the planning and talk about how you maintain it. So they've agreed to do that. It's on their calendars if we want them. That's it.
Do you have that?
No, but we'll get the details.
Yeah, we met, but
Yeah.
at the time that we met, that I met with the Green Committee, we didn't have a commitment yet.
There's a lake over on Shoreline, and I met the people. They're developing a lot. It was stripped clean of trees. It was really heavily wooded, but I don't see dirt fences or anything along the pond. The pond feeds into the intercoastal, actually, but overflows. And if you go down Shoreline, you'll see it. It's kind of like, to me, they should be required to put some type of buffer between their house and the pond.
I'm sure they have requirement to do that.
A silt fence, you mean? Or
I didn't see it. I have to look. I didn't see a silt fence. Maybe there is one there.
I didn't see one either, but I'm wondering if that's what's.
But I'm just saying, I was gone for 3 weeks. When I come back, you notice like a lot of different things when you return. That a lot of them are really not. I don't want to say negative, but I was shocked.
Dustin did let me know that they all flow. Well, not all, but a lot of the ones flow into the ICW, and that is a
Right.
concern because, of course, that's, there's different regulations about that, what's done. So another thing to consider.
You ought to ask Dustin about that property and if they should have fences up.
I got to drive by and look at it. I don't think there was one, but maybe there is. I didn't look that.
Yeah,
I was
I'd
just
be very surprised if there wasn't. Is there anything else? That's a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you,
You're really getting a lot done for us. Thank you.
Ryan.
How about the green recycling report? And do we want to shorten the committee name to just the Green Committee, or?
You know what? We did have a brief discussion about doing that, and I chatted briefly with Steve because he was unable to, because he was out of the country, to attend the meeting. And I think so. I mean, I think everybody, when you say Green Committee, I think by default, one of the key items is recycling. So we want to keep it short, simple. I would say Green Committee sounds appropriate if that's the desire of the full committee here.
a motion that we name it green.
Okay, then I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The other thing that we wanted to share was we know that we'll talk about it at the Tree City USA comes up in a minute, so we'll just delay any conversation about that. But in terms of the upcoming Green Wave on May 3rd, our event, we did, with Amy's kind help, get the save the date was issued to, and you have in front of you an Excel spreadsheet chart that she also updated for us. And we have sent it to all of those identified activities. I think there were just a few emails. Amy, if you'd like to give just a brief update, I think we got 3 people where the email came back. But we know at least we've sent the first save the date out to all of these. And we're going to go through each one of these separately, our committee, and see who best might know somebody that we can do a follow-up contact, identify, are you interested in attending on May 3rd? What kind of activity, presentation, materials would you bring to share? And so we've got a lot of homework to do before the event on May, but it's 4 months away. And so I think we did a good compilation of initial save the date, get the initial save the date out to folks. And so in January we'll take a few weeks off here as we approach the holidays, but we'll get together in the committee and take a look at that. But take this home, and you certainly can reach out to us on the committee. If you say, I know a good contact at this particular organization, let us know that, because we want to make sure we do good follow-up calls, and then we want to collect the information. And that's why you'll see some of the empty columns here. Was the initial call made? Who made it? Are they confirming they want to come? What kind of follow-up information we need to do with them? We've even talked about doing a short little application. We just want to collect the information in organized fashion so we know what's going to happen. So we are making progress on the committee. Just
Maybe
that's
on
where
the
we're
next
at.
one we need to have PowerPoint.
Yeah, well, we got to work on that. You're
Yeah,
right.
I can help you do that.
It's been a while since I've done one, but
Or whatever.
yeah, but
TV
we
show.
can do one. But so I think we've made some good getting it on people's calendars.
So the official name for the event is the Green Wave?
Yes.
That it?
Okay.
Okay.
You'll have to excuse me when I keep referring to it as Earth Day, Arbor Day.
Mhm.
It's just burned in my brain from,
Me too.
but
We can describe how we came up with the name, but it
Okay.
might
I can
take a half
change it.
hour. So
All
we'll
right.
do it.
Okay.
Well, and I think we couldn't really say Earth Day because it's not on Earth Day, and it's really not the Arbor Day. So I think it's an exciting new name. It's a reimagined event. Amy did a good job coming up with the save the date.
you all are way ahead of anything we've ever done in the past.
Okay.
So
I think
I
we talked about.
congratulate you all and thank you for your work.
Yeah, I think we talked about making people aware way ahead, because that way you get a better attendance of people as far as like, both people that attend as well as presenters.
And I think you just mentioned the tree plantings, the shoreline plantings, things like that. So we're going to have some hands-on activities that folks will be able to hopefully enjoy when they come.
Did we decide where a tree's going? I don't remember.
I think we have a good idea. It'll be in the park.
We talked about the park, I remember.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's and it will. I don't want too much information right now, but it'll be the right type of tree, and it'll hopefully live down there by the shoreline somewhere. Okay, Amy's going to give us the appropriate
Yes.
information. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Amy. You're a godsend on this.
Yes,
Um,
yes, you are.
The tree itself is going to go in place of a tree that we had to take down. So we're replacing a
great.
tree that was taken down this year because of,
Perfect.
Dustin can tell you why we took
talked
it out. I
about
don't know.
Yeah.
But the tree came out. We're putting a tree back in its place.
That was the
Okay.
big oak tree that
That's
came
good.
down.
The big one? Yeah.
Yes. And
Oh.
so we're going to replace it with something along those.
Okay,
Great. Okay, so
that's a good idea.
Good. Our schools on here, I saw BCC, our high school departments being invited?
You know, just right now, these are the ones we've contacted.
Okay.
We haven't really dove deep into the school system,
Yeah,
but
okay.
we will probably invite them.
Okay.
Again, this is a Saturday event.
Right.
It's not a Friday. And again,
Yeah.
we hope to have as many people as we can.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think anybody who's interested in supporting the environment, you know,
Yeah.
Arbor, Earth Day
Mhm,
events,
mhm.
we could invite.
Right.
Yeah. So I
I
don't
just know
think
they
there's
have a
any.
club and a horticulture club at one of them. I'm not even sure which one. Might be south over in.
But the,
But
the
But
good.
again, I encourage you to take a look at this sheet.
But I
If,
will.
if we've missed some folks or you know of a particular person, please let us know because again, we want to make sure as many groups that would want to come to the event are certainly aware of it.
Good. Is there anything else?
Only that if Candace was here, she'd probably talk a little bit about the National Certified Wildlife
Wildlife.
Habitat discussion.
Well, I'd like to talk about.
Thank you, because I was going to suggest, John, you do the conversation on that.
No.
Thanks.
Last month, I challenged everyone on the committee to apply to certify their residential property as a wildlife habitat. And I went home and did that. And it was a very straightforward and simple thing to do. Our property met all the requirements of it. I filed the form one afternoon and was instantly certified as a wildlife habitat. And I paid my money to get a certificate and buy a sign. And this is a sign that I bought to put up in our yard saying that we are a certified wildlife
We have
habitat.
forms for that.
That's great.
We,
I was not at the meeting when you.
Uh-huh.
I'd love to do it, so I don't know if I have the form. So if you could email the form or give me the form, I'll do it.
He gave us some criteria
Go
for
online.
certification, but I don't know that the form's in there, John.
and this
Oh,
is
it's
the
online.
certificate they send you with your name and
I
Here
did.
it is.
I did have it. Thank you.
I also
Good, yeah.
contacted
I have
the
not done it yet.
National Wildlife Federation
Uh-huh.
to find out how many other properties were certified
Oh, good.
in our zip code. Because if we can get 100 other residences certified as wildlife habitat, then we can work towards getting a community certification for Sunset Beach. It requires, for a town of our size, it requires 100 people to have certified wildlife habitats. And as of the correspondence I had a week ago, we had 10 in town, 10 in our zip code,
Ah.
which includes more than the boundaries of the town of Sunset Beach. But it's a good start. So there are at least 9 other ones beside me that had done this in the past. And at the agenda meeting I had with Candace and Steve, they both assured me they were going to apply for
Absolutely.
certification.
I haven't
Uh,
done the application
and
yet.
I
have.
intend to challenge the um, town council members to certify their properties or to take the steps necessary to do that too. But I haven't done that yet. Um, I think most people around here will find that it's not difficult to get certified. You have to have bird baths, you
get a
have to
bird
have
bath.
bird houses, you have to have bird feeders, you have to have native plantings in your yard, and you're pretty much there.
Mhm.
So it's a good thing to do for the environment, and if we can get enough people signed up for it, we can get the town recognized as a certified wildlife community.
The other benefit is it might also help us with getting some grants to have that status and that certification. I mean,
Yep.
can't hurt.
Yep. And in Brunswick County, I believe the only other community that is certified is St. James.
And
So we would